Have you ever faced a situation where you added a new record in your application only to find that it doesn't show up? It's frustrating, right? If that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're tackling the issue of Angular's ngOnInit not being called after navigating back to a component. I completely understand how annoying it can be when you expect to see your newly added data, but it just doesn't appear. You're not alone in this. Many developers encounter this issue when working with Angular. Here's the specific situation we're looking at. One user recently asked, "Why is ngOnInit not called after I navigate back to my employee component?" They mentioned that after adding a new employee, the table doesn't update unless they recompile the code. Sound familiar? Let's dig into this together and find a solution. So what could be causing this? The issue arises because ngOnInit is only called once when the component is initialized. This means that when you navigate back to the component, it doesn't trigger ngOnInit again, and thus the data doesn't refresh. We'll break it down step by step so you can understand how to fix it. And don't go anywhere. I've got a pro tip at the end that will help you ensure your data is always up to date when navigating between components. To resolve the issue of the employee component not updating after adding a new employee, the user should implement a method to refresh the employee data after navigating back from the form component. Next, the user should call this refresh method after navigating back to the employee component. This can be done by using Angular's router events. Additionally, the user should ensure that the employee data is fetched whenever the component is activated. This can be done by moving the data fetching logic to the ngOnInit method. Finally, the user should test the application to confirm that the employee table updates correctly after adding a new employee. This ensures that the new data is displayed without needing to recompile the code. Did you know? Angular has a rich set of lifecycle hooks that can help you manage your component's behavior effectively. Understanding these can save you a lot of headaches. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach shared by another user highlights that Angular's router reuses component instances when navigating between routes. This means that ngOnInit may not be called again if the same component instance is used. To address this, they suggest subscribing to the router's events, specifically the navigation end event, to refresh the data after navigation. Additionally, they recommend checking if ngOnInit is being called multiple times during navigation. This can be done using console.log statements to verify the component's lifecycle behavior. Let's take a moment to review another user's answer. An alternative solution provided by another user suggests modifying your component's constructor. They recommend subscribing to the activated route parameters and using changeDetectorRef to force change detection. This way, you can update your model whenever the route changes. Let's take a look at an answer from another user. An alternative solution suggests that the issue may arise because the routing call is outside of Angular's lifecycle. The user recommends checking for a warning message indicating that navigation was triggered outside the Angular zone. If this is the case, the solution is to use nZone to ensure that the routing directive is called within Angular's lifecycle. Let's check out another perspective from a different user. An alternative solution provided by another user suggests adding a method called IonViewWillEnter in the employee's component. This method will manually invoke ngOnInit after redirection, ensuring that the component fetches the latest data from the server. Let's take a look at another answer from another user. An alternative solution provided by another user suggests downgrading the Angular router to version 4.1.3. This change allows the ngOnInit method to be triggered again when navigating using RouterLink. Here's the pro tip I promised. Always ensure that your data fetching logic is flexible enough to handle route changes. This will save you from unexpected issues down the line. And there you have it. By using router events and refreshing your data appropriately, you can ensure that your employee table always displays the latest records. If you found this helpful, hit the subscribe button for more tips, and don't miss our bonus pro tip on managing Angular lifecycle hooks.